Here once again, Elizabeth.
Yes, we
And
are.
as usual, how has your week been?
The week has been so far so good. I can't complain. Yeah, no, I mean it's only Tuesday, right? So but I guess between last week and this week, the week is going well. Um it's funny because yesterday dawned on me we're 3 weeks away from Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, what? 3 weeks? It's not long. And of course that means the end of the year.
Yes, it is. It is coming to that time of the year,
So
Christmas, New Year, and then we bang start the new year 2024.
2024. Who would have thought?
Who would have thought? And yeah, Christmas is around the corner, and it's going to be it's going to be a great Christmas. It's going to be a great Christmas, and Christmas parties. There's so many Christmas parties lined up. I mean, I personally have lots of invitation now. I have to pick and choose. Can't
Ooh.
do can't do everything. Can't do everything. But as you say, prioritizing the ones that you need to be there to represent yourself and family and connections. And talking about Christmas parties. Hey, Kingdompreneur is having a Christmas party on the 16th of December.
Yes, it is. Honestly, we're looking forward to it. So, 16th of December, like you said, we are in Battersea. Ooh.
Mhm.
We're hanging out in Battersea for some Christmas fun.
Christmas fun.
Christmas fun. And honestly, if you are watching and you're wondering what's the Kingdompreneurs about, send us a message. We can send you more information. But it's literally a network for Christians in business. We hang out every month. We have some teachings. We have some brunch. We have some we network. We collaborate. We learn, um, and we basically have fun. Build relationships.
Yes. It's all about building relationships. And moving on to our topic today, one of the things is we're going to talk about how you fuel your influence confidently. And influence is basically building relationships across the board.
Mm.
And what does John Maxwell say about influence? He,
Influence is leadership, or leadership is influence, should I
Ye-
say?
yeah, he always talks about it. Leadership is influence is actually leading yourself.
Mm.
And I thought, as we approach 2024, you know, we have gone through, I think, how many 49 episodes as of today.
This is the
49.
49th.
Yes, 49th episode. And we've been speaking a lot about building confidence in different areas of our lives. Elizabeth and I share a lot about confidence and how we can usher in the new year 2024 confidently. But part of being confident is having the right influence. Last week, we spoke about realizing your dream. And one of the things about realizing the dream is to have the right influence around us.
That's it.
Yes.
That's it.
So, Elizabeth, so what are your thoughts about how we can fuel our personal influence?
Oh, wow. How can we fuel our personal influence? Do you know what I would say? So, I think some time back, I preached a message that involved something about influence.
Mhm.
Um, and we all have an opportunity to influence, and we can either influence for good or influence negatively.
Mhm.
Because the interesting thing is, even our kids influence us.
True.
Society influences us. There's so many things around us that can influence us. And it's just about the different levels of influence and
Mhm.
what is influencing you on. I mean, the weather, looking outside at the weather can influence your decision for what you wear.
True.
Yeah.
Simple as that. Yeah.
So there's different influences out there. But it's about, I think, deciding what's the influence that I want to create, or what's the impact that I want to create as a result of the influence I have. So influence could be, someone pays attention to you, to attention to what you say, attention to the things that you do, and they not necessarily copy you, but they react to what you are doing. So we can talk about influence from different angles. We can talk about influence at home, influence in the community, influence at church, influence in the workplace, influence on social media.
Mhm.
Because it's a big word out there, isn't it? Influencers. I want to be an influencer. You meet young people today, and it's like, what do you want to do? Oh, I want to be an influencer. Influencing people to do what? I remember being in a school. This was probably like 2-3 months ago, maybe 2 months ago, and I asked the question, like, what do you want to do? And this girl actually said she wants to be an influencer. And I looked at her, I said, what do you want to influence people to do or to be? And she was just like, oh, I just want to be an influencer. I want to have followers. So it wasn't, she wasn't clear about what she wanted to influence people in. So you can have influence, but what is it? Because influence can give you authority.
Mm-hmm.
And influence, yes, it opens the door for you to make impact. But what's your influence in? What are you influencing people to do? Is it life-changing? Are you influencing people to transform their lives and be better versions of themselves?
Mm-hmm.
Or are you just, creating followers? Is that what you're doing? What is it that you are doing?
Talking about being a great influencer, Elizabeth, you are a great influencer with Show Up and Shine. You're encouraging women entrepreneurs, Christian women entrepreneurs, to show up on social media to shine, and that is actually being a very positive influence. And one of the acronym John Maxwell has for the word influence, the I stands for impact. How you impact people.
There you go.
And one of the great ways is impacting people with a positive encouragement on social media or wherever you are, in your workplace, in church, with your young people, and even your children. They will have great impact when you're a good mom or a dad. How you impact your life, other people's life. When your lives are in a good place, you tend to want to be impacting others greatly. So, and the acronym impact, I mean, not impact, influence, the N stands for nurturing.
Wow.
Nurturing people. How do you nurture someone? And today you did speak about the three things about realizing your dream. I did watch, I did see, and nurturing your dreams is so important. When we can nurture other people, but where are we with our goals and our dreams? We need to nurture our dreams, bring it to a full blown grown tree. Now it's a seed now, no? It's just in a seed, and 2024 is a time for you to nurture and pour the right what's that amount of water, the food, and the care. You nurture the dream to come true.
That's it.
Yeah. And I was so excited when I saw this on my phone. And F is faith in people.
Faith in people. Okay.
Yeah, Elizabeth, I know you speak about valuing people. I think it ties up very well with having faith in people. Would you like to unpack that?
Wow. So today I was having a conversation with somebody and made reference to the book by, what's his name? The book about the habits of the seven
Oh,
habits
Stephen
of highly
Covey.
effective people.
Stephen
Yes,
Covey.
COVID.
Yeah.
Yes, and in the book he says something about seeking to understand before you're understood. You
Mm.
know, and I think when we're having faith in people, it's that element of seeking to understand, where is this person coming from, seeking to understand, like, what is the thing that's affecting this person, because sometimes it's easy for us to judge. It's easy
Mm-hmm.
for us to have a
Conceit.
predetermined
Mm.
opinion about somebody, and because we do, we treat them a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't know what that person is dealing with. You don't know what that person is going through. You don't know, what demons they're fighting. You don't know what challenges they're experiencing. So being able to have faith in people, and I think Jesus gives us a perfect example of this. Jesus, like, he had compassion, he had humility. Like, there were all these things about him, that he saw the good in people. And it's not always easy as human beings to see the good in others,
Mm-hmm.
but if you're going to influence, you have to be able to see some value in that person, to be able to put to be able to want to impact them, to be able to even want to assert your influence.
Mm-hmm.
You have to see some value in them. You have to realize that this person is actually valuable. So yes, I want to pour on them. I want to pour some wisdom on them. I want to teach them something. I want to influence them to be better.
Mm-hmm.
So faith in people, I think, is very important, because people are, like, I want to say, like the currency, but like, we are dealing with people every day on a day-to-day basis, and you can't say you have influence if there's no people following you. And I don't mean this from a social media perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Let's put that to one side. I just mean this in general.
In
If
general,
there's
yeah.
nobody that can say your life is impacting me, that this, let's be real. The influence there is a bit shaky.
Yeah. Yeah. I think having faith in someone, we always, I don't know most people, but there's this element of suspicion when you meet, greet, and also connect with people.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there is always a, a place where you need to be a little cautious, because you have discernment, who you want
Yeah.
to trust and all. But you know what? Being able, when somebody is under your care, in the sense, because we do coaching all the time, and when we
Mm,
coach someone, there has to be trust.
absolutely.
Yeah, as a coach and a coachee, you trust each other to share, and to, as a coach, you keep privacy, and to be able to work together. And trust is so important, especially in the workplace. If you're in the human resources, you got to have you have to work with so much of confidentiality. And
Yeah,
work, yeah, trust is very important. So the word L is listening to people. And
that's
that's the
important.
skill set that we all need. To be an influencer, we need to be able to listen to one another,
Hmm.
you know, and communicating and listening. I think as being a coach, we tend to want to listen to our coachee more than to because they, as coaches, they need to find their own answers. We can only guide them. And listening is a skill that we all need to develop.
Absolutely. And I mean, you mentioned about coaching, like, you can't do coaching if you are not an active listener.
Mhm.
It will be a real struggle. You would rather go and do another kind of business as opposed to coaching, because coaching requires a lot of listening.
Mhm.
And one of the things that you then have to get used to in a coaching environment is the awkward silences. And let's not even call them awkward, let's call them learning moments. Being able to just listen to the client, but also allow the client to listen to their inner thoughts. And so sometimes that means I might not have an immediate answer, like I might take a moment or even a minute, 2 minutes to just sit on it and think
Reflective
of it.
mode.
That's it.
Reflective mode. Yeah, listening. And uh, these nowadays, corporations and organizations have in-house coaches, and and the employees just go in and just practically, literally speak their minds out and just speak out whatever they need, and the coach there listens with no solution given, because they just need someone as a sounding board.
Mm,
And a lot of organizations, they have in-house um, listeners, you would, as you put it.
absolutely. It's the skill of listening and asking the right questions.
Yeah,
So
asking the
doing
right
more
question.
listening, and then every so often you drop a question.
And a lot of people have depression because they don't have anywhere to vent their thoughts and their reflective thoughts, and where we are here as coaches. I mean, we are here. I mean, Elizabeth does different business coaching. I do a lot of other sort of relationship. I do a varied kind of coaching, but coaching is a calling, I would say.
Mm,
Yeah. So moving on, Elizabeth, you is understanding people.
okay.
So what would you say about understanding people? It kind of overlaps. I know it overlaps, but you know what?
Mm. No, but understanding people is important. It's an important part of communication, isn't it? So,
Mhm.
as much as yes, we're listening, then there has to be. I need to be able to understand you. Otherwise, we can't communicate. If I don't understand you, or at least have an idea, then there's going to be a communication breakdown. And you hear it sometimes in a conversation, like, you don't understand me, you don't get it.
Yeah.
So where there is no understanding, there is going to be a breakdown in communication. And
Mhm.
so if influence is going to work, there has to be a level of understanding. Otherwise, the influence is going to go the wrong way.
Yeah, it's like a chicken and duck talk, as we say, as we call it in Asia. You're speaking another language, and I'm speaking another language. We are not together in our communion with our thoughts. Now, my husband says, "Speak English." I said, "I'm speaking English." When he doesn't understand me, he says, "Speak English." I said, "No, I'm from Asia. You're from UK. So we speak a different language, even though we speak English." He says, "Speak English." So
Wow.
trying to understand one another, or sometimes mis mis misunderstanding comes because we don't understand where each other comes from, and it can affect relationships.
Mm.
Can really a small matter can influence and become such a big matter.
It can boil over.
Yeah, it can boil over, and it can become Chinese whispers, and it's just enlarge. The pegs are enlarged, and it becomes such a big issue. So
Mm.
learning to understand one another, and where, from what point in their life they're coming forth, I think it's very important in terms of relationship across the board, at home, at work, in church, in a leadership position. To
Yep.
Yep, to leaders misunderstand all the time, especially in church. I find that they're they're not understanding. But who gives us understanding, Elizabeth? It's Christ.
Mm.
When you have wisdom, you have understanding. So the download of wisdom has to come through understanding one another. What is my counterpart speaking about? So influence is understanding one another, the you. So I know you like to to unpack this. enlarging people, enlargement.
Enlarging. Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, enlargement. And going into 2024, we all need to enlarge our personal growth.
Mm.
So take it on, Elizabeth. I know you love to speak about
Wow.
enlargement.
Do you know what? When I think of enlargement, I think about enlarging your capacity.
Mm,
So, like personal growth, enlarging your capacity, but also enlarging your territory of influence.
mhm,
So, something that comes to mind is the prayer of Jabez,
mm. Very good example.
because that was one of the things he prayed. And every time I'm quoting that prayer, I take his line as enlarge my territory of influence.
Mhm, mhm,
That's the way I interpret it,
mhm,
in my spirit, my understanding.
mhm,
So yeah, and enlargement, and you know what? As your influence grows, your enlargement grows.
mhm,
You're enlarging, you're stretching out your tent.
mhm,
And sometimes we're not intentional with our influence. Sometimes it just happens because we are showing up, because we are present in certain capacities, and so as a result we are automatically influencing without even thinking about it.
mhm,
It's kind of like when I talk about showing up on social media. So one of the things that I like to do as well is on my WhatsApp, I like to put pictures, stories, and it could be things from social media. It could be just my pictures from my day. Like I'm walking around and I'll take a picture. And it's funny because people will comment on the pictures, and you get feedback like, oh, this has really cheered up my day, or this is, and I'm just doing it because I know it can spread some light. I know it's cheered me up, so maybe it will cheer you up.
mhm,
So, but also it's that enlarging your sphere. So your influence shouldn't just be boxed in one place. There has to be some enlargement, there has to be some growing that's happening, and you have to enlarge your capacity to also increase your capacity for influence. Because if I'm going to influence you at a greater level, there must be an inner growth that is happening at a deeper level.
mhm. That's true. And I'm going to plug this in. 2022, we started Confidence Culture Conversations Live, and we are now on the 49th episode. We have over the 1 year, nearly 1.5 years, we have enlarged our territories and boundaries,
That's it.
and we've also gone globally, and that is enlargement as confidence culture conversations. And step three is we have now officially called ourselves Community Interest Company.
Yes,
So
we
that
have.
is really growth, and I am chuffed about it. And Elizabeth, you have to give a pat on our backs and say, "Well done."
Well done, well done. No, but that's an example of enlargement. And just going back on myself a little. So when you start to enlarge yourself, when you start to enlarge your capacity, um your influence is going to start to grow.
Mhm,
Your influence will start to grow, because when you're enlarging yourself, you find yourself in different rooms.
mhm,
You start to enlarge your environment, the environment that you're in, and as a result you have access to influencing more people.
mhm, mhm.
So I like that. I like that enlargement. I like it as part of the whole influencing thing.
Yeah,
It's
it
good.
it, it is it's a great point to mull over enlargement, because what we are doing is touching lives, enlarging people's lives through our influence through this life, and by all the other things that we do. And individually you're doing your own, show up and shine, your dare to believe, and I'm doing my style your life with Grace K. We all are in the move of enlarging someone else's life.
That's it.
Yeah. So yeah, great. That's a great way of explaining enlargement. N stands for navigating someone else, navigating people. We navigate people into walking into their God-given dreams,
Mm,
God-given purpose, God-given callings. We help navigate. So we, in our own ways, are influencing others and encouraging someone else to influence their spheres of influence.
true.
Mm. So, so it's a great point to why 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 is navigating very important? Some Elizabeth, as coaches and mentees, I think there is a place where we navigate them.
Well, navigating is kind of like a steering in a particular direction, isn't it? So it's
Yes.
about direction, and a
Mm.
lot of times people are lacking direction.
Hmm.
People need clarity,
Hmm.
and clarity can help to bring that navigating. And sometimes it's just a case of, like, for me, from a coaching perspective, it's asking the right questions. So
Hmm.
finding somebody where they're at and just asking them questions to help them discover the journey that they want to go on, to help
Hmm.
them discover the route that they want to take. Because
Hmm.
a lot of times we know but we don't know. And when I say we know, our inner man knows. But when I say we don't know, is because we have not accepted that response. And so we need someone to help us to probe and to discover that answer, to pull that answer out of us. So the navigating is really a direction. It is a direction thing. So if you are in a place where, yes, you're like, I don't know where my life is going, I don't know what's happening, I don't know what I'm doing with my life, then it's important to have the right influence around you, because the right influence will help you to navigate through the situations of life. The right influence will help you to navigate challenging times,
Hmm.
to navigate times of transition, to navigate times where you have no clue. Sometimes
Elizabeth,
those are mentors.
sorry, go on.
Yeah, sometimes those are mentors, coaches, spiritual leaders, elders, people that you have allowed to have a voice over you.
Mhm. And would you say navigating can kind of equate to accountability?
Not quite.
Not quite. All right.
Not quite, because navigating is more about direction.
Okay.
Accountability is like you have to take responsibility.
Okay. All right.
Hmm,
Thank you. Thank you for clarifying.
that's okay.
Okay. So C is for connecting with people. Oh, we love doing that. We love connecting with people. We connect with people all the time. And Elizabeth, would you like to share about the connections that you'd run every fortnight?
Every fortnight? Ooh, which ones are those?
The Tuesday ones you run?
The Tuesday. Oh, do you mean women in business?
Yes.
Oh wow. So in terms of connecting, yeah, connections are all around us. So this Tuesday, for example, I was leading a coffee and co-working session for women in business. So we like, all of us have an opportunity to connect with people. You can connect with people online, you can connect with people in person. It's entirely up to you, but it's realizing that you need certain connections, or realizing that connections are good for you. Like, if you're in the business world, you cannot have a successful business in isolation.
Mm-hmm.
So you are going to need to master the art of networking. Actually, even in professional setting, networking can give you influence.
Mm-hmm.
And networking is about making connections. They say that you are, your network is your net worth,
Yeah. Your network is your
and your
network.
network is your connections.
Yeah.
So your connections, they're important. Your connections can bring you down. Your connections can lift you up. Your connections can hold you accountable. Your connections can help you to navigate life.
Mm-hmm. And your
So,
connect and your connections can be your destiny connector.
Absolutely, absolutely. So the connections that we are making on a daily basis, it's so important. And sometimes people don't realize the difference the right connection makes. Like if you marry the wrong person, you're connected to the wrong person, that can affect your destiny. That can
Mhm.
affect the way you are stepping into your purpose. So who you are connected to is so important. The sources you're connected to, where are you drinking from, where are you eating from, those things are so important. What source is connected to pouring into you, that's important, because you don't want just any rubbish. So what are you, or who are you connected to? Because your connections are going to bring about influence. Just as the saying is out there, that you are like the five closest people around you.
Mhm.
So the five people that you are connected to the most. Whenever I tell kids in schools that statement, they're like, "What? No, I'm not like them." I'm like, "Well, those people that you're spending the most time with, those five people, you're becoming like them. So if you don't like them, you better shift and change your connections."
Mhm. Mhm. Yes, that's so true. Who your spheres of influences are, and the five people that always are around you can either reflect who you are or digress who you are.
Mm,
Yeah, connections are very, very powerful. Elizabeth and I, we got connected on social media. So there is power in social media when it's used properly in connecting one
absolutely.
another. Yeah. So moving on to the alphabet E is empowering others.
Mm,
And empowerment is powerful. It is powerful because you might not know, those out there, you might think, oh, I'm not an influencer, but something, directly, indirectly, you are empowering someone else. You are enabling someone else. They might see you from a distance, and they might admire you. Hey, I want to be like that person, because
absolutely.
you are really touching their life, empowering them in ways that you can never imagine.
Mm,
Indirectly, directly, you are an influencer. And Elizabeth and I, we empower women. We empower them to be courageous enough to go and take what they want in life,
mm,
and show compassion towards themselves, because a lot of women think they don't deserve it, but
mm.
you deserve it. And as Elizabeth says, you are a person of value.
That's it. That's
Yes,
it.
you're a person of value. So Elizabeth, would you like to say something about it? Because I love the way you encapsulate, you put it together, and bring forth that value. So empowerment is all about valuing yourself and to value others.
Oh yes, it is. You know, there's a lot of people out there who don't feel empowered. And so it takes someone like connecting with them. It takes someone listening and understanding. It takes someone impacting. It takes someone having faith in them. So literally all those words that we've gone through. If you did all those things, you empower somebody.
Mhm.
You empower somebody. And for me, empowering is not necessarily that I'm putting something in your hands, but I'm helping you to open your eyes to see what you already have. So to see the value that you carry, because sometimes we don't see the value. We like to see the rubbish. We like to see the negative things about us. And maybe it's because there's people around us who are always highlighting the negative things. So we don't get to see the positive things, or we don't get to hear the positive affirmations spoken over us.
And I was reminded of the story of Moses. God asked Moses, "What's in your hands? What's in your hands?" Because God had already given him that rod in his hands,
Mm,
empowered him with that rod.
that's it.
Yeah. So we all have something in us. Our passion is also part of our empowerment. Our dreams is part of our empowerments. And
Mm.
what we do with it and how we're going to empower ourselves and how we empower others, it is so vital as we move on to 2024.
Yeah.
Don't sit and say, I don't have anything in my hands.
Mm.
You have something, like the old widow who had some oil in a jar, and how the oil multiplied. That that oil in her hands multiplied, and it kind of covered all her debts. So
Mm.
if you're struggling with financial breakthroughs, ask yourself, stop borrowing, ask yourself what is in your hands. What's in your hands? What can I do for some residue income?
Mm.
You think things are going to get tough out there. As much as God is going to bless his people, but there's things are going to get tough. So how are you going to empower yourself with a new business venture, or something you can do with your hands, or do something besides what you do every day,
Mm.
because your passion can turn to profit.
That's it.
Yeah,
It
and
can.
yeah, it can. So don't sit on it, reflect upon it. And if you really need help to start a business and how you want to get into your business, we have a business coach here. Come on, Elizabeth, you're good at it.
Well, if you've got a dream, if you've got a vision, and you just need to start taking action on it, or you just need someone to hold you accountable, that's it. Give
Yep.
me a shout. Give
Yeah.
me a shout.
Elizabeth is good at that. I'm good at the matters of the heart. I just kind of empowered a woman in India to actually leave her husband
Wow.
because she was in an abusive relationship. She is in an abusive
Wow.
relationship, and it's a struggle for her. She needed
Mm.
to hear this from me. I don't believe in breaking marriages, but she has struggled with her husband for the last 5 years, and he beats her. He steals from her.
Mm.
And it's so sad because she is a bright spark. She's a bright spark. But you know what? She's in a trap. So me, I'm empowering her to to realize that she's a person of value.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
And you cannot be in that abuse. You
Mm.
cannot be taking all this rubbish from a man who doesn't respect you. Sorry, it's sad. It's sad, but a lot of us are trapped in it because we feel we are trapped in the fact that, what will God say? And what does the Bible say?
Mm.
What does the world say? What does my neighbor say? But would you want to die in the hands of a man who's abusing you?
Mm.
And violence, God doesn't accept violence. So there we go. And finally, the word R is reproduce other influences.
Reproduce other influencers. That's like an assignment. Go out and reproduce other influencers.
Yes. What did the 12 disciples do? They were influencers, right?
Mm-hmm.
They were influenced, and this they didn't know they had a word for it. We coined that word, go ye out into the utmost part of the world.
And
And
make
even
disciples.
making disciples was actually, they were influencers, and they were discipling is influentials.
Mm.
Sorry, in discipling is making influences. Does that make sense, Elizabeth?
Yeah, in the process of discipling, you influence.
Yeah. So there you go. So we are all somewhere rather we are influencing
We
someone
are
else.
probably being influenced and we're influencing.
Yeah, we ourselves, we have people mentoring us. We have people speaking into our lives as we speak into other people's life and encouraging one another. We are encouraging. So to fuel up this influence for the 2024, it has to be intentional. You can't sit in the
You've
corner.
taken the words right out of my mouth. Intentional.
You want to talk about it? Come on, Elizabeth, come.
No, do you know what? It's so important for us to be intentional with our influence.
Mm-hmm.
And that might even look like, okay, in 2024, I want to influence 5 young people. Like
Targets.
you could literally tell yourself something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I want to influence 5 young people. So it's about identifying who are these 5 young people. I want to pour into them. I want to influence them. And you literally go out and do it. So it's really understanding, what do you want your influence to look like. One of the things that is always on my mind, when I say always, it's on my mind a lot, but it's just the idea of what impact or what imprint do you want to leave on this earth. What imprint do you want to leave on this earth?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's going to determine the level of influence that you're going to be having.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to decide, who do I want to influence? How do I want to influence them? And like what Kirubai was saying about being intentional, be intentional with your influence. As a parent, you are in a position to influence your child. You might be an older generation, but not even older generation per se, but just there's people younger than you. The fact that there are people in your circle who are younger than you, it means that there are people within your sphere of influence. There are people that you can influence. I have nieces and nephews I can influence, so I can influence the next generation. You might have people in your circle who, yes, they're older than you and they're influencing you, but you can also have influence on them. And it's also realizing the issue of value. So you realize your value. You realize the capacity of influence you have. You realize what level of influence you can bring into a room. You can walk into it, because we carry so much, especially as Christians. There is treasure inside of us. We have the capacity to change an atmosphere.
Yes.
We have the capacity for influence. So be conscious that you have the capacity to influence, and be intentional with the way that you influence.
Reverend Marcus Gill, he always talks about it very, very strongly, influence, and how, of late he's been speaking a lot about the right influence around you. And his Instagrams, and I follow him on Instagram, and it's a joy to listen to him, make his talk in his videos. So yeah, I mean, I completely, we don't know how much we carry. It is so important. We shouldn't make our God small, because the anointing that he has given each one of us, we carry the anointing, and the anointing is actually influence. Of course, influencing the things of God in someone else's life. We can make or break an environment.
True.
So don't take it lightly. What's that, ladies and gentlemen? Because don't take it lightly. How you influence someone, and how this influence is powered up, fueled by God in someone else's life. I've heard there are male followers in our life. So I said, praise God. And I think there's someone from Nigeria is listening in there. He says hello. God's will. So we have male and female listening in and encouraging us, and we thank you. So Elizabeth, So I have finished the acronym of influence. Is there anything else you would like to add?
I think we've said it. You know, be intentional with your influence. You have the capacity to influence, so be intentional. You know, and if there's particular people that you want to influence, like just and that could be in the form of mentoring.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, so don't ignore what you have. Don't ignore what you have. That's so important because realize your value and bring value to others.
Yeah.
Influence
Be like a city set on a hill
that cannot be hidden. Yeah,
that cannot be hidden.
show up and shine.
So, okay.
There you go.
Well said. So, Elizabeth, we have something on the 9th of December. Would you like to share about that?
Yes, on Saturday, Kingdompreneurs Network is having brunch and vision boards. We are working on our vision boards for 2024. So if you are in and around the London area, do join us. Get in touch with us. We can send you the details so you can register, and we'll be having some fellowship. We'll be having some fun. We'll be dreaming big. We will be like cutting things up in magazines and stuff. And we'll be sharing some food together. So join us. It's going to be 10 a.m. on Saturday. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. And we'll see you next week. Probably it's going to be our last broadcast for the year next week.
Probably.
Yeah, we'll take
50.
a break. And
Yeah, 50.
yes, 50.
Yeah,
Wow. A circle of grace. Whew. Yes, 50. And we will take a break till the new year. But see you next week for the final episode of Confidence Culture Conversations 2023 next week. Bye for now.
God bless you.
God bless.